Good morning. I'm Srushti Dharmale and today I will be performing a continuous program of 3 contrasting plays wrapped. The first monologue that I'm going to perform is Puck's monologue from A Midsummer Night's Dream, written by William Shakespeare in the year 1595. I will be playing the role of Puck, whose character is that of trickster. He is also referred to as Robin Goodfellow in the play. In this monologue, Puck has been asked by Oberon to retrieve the magic flower, the juice of which when touches the eyelids will make anybody fall in love with whom they see. Titania, Oberon's wife, falls in love with an ass, Bottom, that has been transformed by Puck himself. This monologue shows Puck's excitement as he succeeded in accomplishing his master's request. A Midsummer Night's Dream, Act 3, Scene 2. Mistress, the monster is in love! Kneel to her close and consecrated bower, while she was in a dull and sleeping hour. A crew of patches, rude mechanicals that left the bread upon thin stalls were met together to rehearse a play intended for great Theseus's nuptial day. The shallow, thick skin of that barren sod who Pyramus presented in the spot so Cassine and entered in a brave when I did him at this advanced day. And as is known, I fixed it on his head. Anonymous Thisbe must be answered, and forth my guilt when they him spy. Wild geese with creepy foul eye, a russet feather many swords rising and pouring out the guns report and setting themselves in madly sweep the sky. So at this sight, away fellows fly, and at our stand here, old and old falls. Murder cries, hell from maiden skulls. Their senses is weak, lost with their fears are strong. Made senseless things begin to do them wrong. For briars and thorns at their power snatch, since leaves and hands, from all elders all things catch. I'll let them on in this distracted fear, and let sweet pittance translated there. When in that moment, so it came to pass. Titania waked and straightway loved the lass. The contrasting piece that I will be performing is taken from Olyanna, which is a 1992 two-character play by David Mamet. It focuses on the power struggle between a university professor and one of his female students who accuses him of sexual harassment and by doing so spoils his chance of being accorded tenure. I will be playing the role of Karen, who is portrayed as confused, depressed girl who only wants to do well in John's class. However, she turns into a manipulative woman influenced by some college group, but also a feminist nightmare who is conniving, and her main intention is to malign the professor's character. She contrasts with Puck's character, who is fun-loving, and his main intention has been to please his master. The issue here is not what I feel. It's not my feelings, but the feelings of men and women. Your superiors. You've been polled. Do you see? To whom evidence has been presented and who have ruled. Do you see? Not your sex, not your race, not your class, but your own actions. And you're angry? You tell me, what do you want? You want to charm me? You want to convince me? You want me to recant? I will not recant. Why should I? What I say is right. You tell me. You're going to tell me that you have a child and wife, and you're going to tell me that you've worked for 20 years with this? Do you know what you work for? Power. For power. Do you understand? And you sit there and you tell me stories about your house, about all the private schools, and about your privilege, and how you're entitled to buy, to spend, to mock, to sell. All your stories. All your silly, weak guilt. It's all about privilege. And you won't know it. Don't you see? You worked for 20 years for the right to insult me, and you feel entitled to be paid for it? The last monologue is taken from the play Doll's House by Henrik Ibsen. It is written in the year 1897. In this piece deals with the fate of a married woman who at the time in Norway lacked reasonable opportunities for self-fulfillment in a male-dominant world. Nora's character contrasts with Puck and Carol as she displays honesty. She stands up against her husband to persuade for true happiness, not fearing any consequences. Now I would like to invite my co-actor Angan Iman to perform a play with me, Trovar's character. It's perfectly true, Trovar. When I was at home with Papa, he told me his opinions about everything. And so I had the same opinions. And if I differed from him, I concealed the fact, because he would not have liked it. He called me his doll child, and used to play with me just as I used to play with my dolls. But when I came to live with you...
What sort of an expression is that you use about our marriage?
I mean, I was simply transferred from Papa's hand into yours, and you arranged everything according to your own taste. So I got the same taste as you, or I pretended to. I'm really not quite sure. Sometimes I think the one, and sometimes the other. When I look back on it, it seems to me as if I've been living here like a poor woman, just from hand to mouth. I have merely existed to perform tricks for you, Trovar, but you would have it so. You and Papa have committed a great sin against me, and it's your fault that I made nothing of my life.
How unreasonable and how ungrateful you are, Nora. Have you not been happy here?
No, I've never really been happy. I thought I was, but it has never really been so.
Not happy.
No, only merry. And you have always been so kind to me. But our home has been nothing but a playroom. I've been your doll wife just as at home I was Papa's doll child. And here, the children have been my dolls. I thought it great fun when you played with me, just as they thought it great fun when I played with them. That is what our marriage has been, Joel.
There is some truth in what you say, exaggerated and strained as your view of it is. But for the future, it shall be different. Playtime shall be over and lesson time shall begin.
Whose lessons? Mine or the children?
Both. Yours and the children's, my darling Nora.
Alas, Joel, you're not the man to educate me into being a proper wife for you.
And you can say that.
And I? How am I fitted to bring up the children?
Did you say so yourself a little while ago that you dare not trust me to bring them up?
Indeed, you were perfectly right. I'm not fit for the task. There is another task that I must undertake first. That is, I must try to educate myself. Because you are not the man to help me in that. So I must do that for myself. And that is why I'm going to leave you right now.
What do you say?
I stand quite alone. If I have to understand me and everything about me, it is for this reason that I cannot remain with you any longer. I would like now to perform the modification task that I'm going to perform is Puck's monologue, as though I have been told the most exciting secret. My mistress is a monster! Knew to her clothes and concentrated power, while she was in a dull and sleeping hour. A crew of badgers removed mechanicals that worked for bad quarantine stores were met together to use the intended for Jesus is not today. The shallowest thick skin of that barren sword, who Paris presented in the spot, pursued seen and entered in a break. When I did him at this advantage day, and asked his Lord and fixed it on his head. A Lord is this, but he must be answered. And thought my way comes, blaze by. As the wild geese and creeping forward eye, a russet vanishes, men saw rising in corn at the guns report, and setting themselves in madly sweep the sky. So at his sight, oh, his fellows fly! And at all stand pure, o'er and o'er one falls. He mortal cries, for help beneath its stalls. Their senses as weak, lost where their feels are strong, made senseless things begin to do them wrong. I led them on in this distracted fear, and left sweet bitterness translated there, where in that moment, so it came to pass. Titania away, straight up in the nest. Now I would like to move on to the reflection task. The first question that I want to answer is how did I chose my pieces for today's performance and how it contrasts with the mood and style. However, I had plenty of options from Shakespeare to different pieces. I personally wanted to choose that did not only contrast with emotion, theme, style, but also with different eras. When I was choosing the piece, I came with different playwrights which had the different languages or in different eras. So the first piece that I chose was Puck's monologue from A Midsummer Night's Dream. Puck's character is referred to as Robin Goodfellow. It is not a serious play, but Puck's character is very mischievous. I really enjoyed playing this character because I wanted to challenge myself for this character, as it did not have any specific directions and a specific movement, but Puck's character gave me the liberty to act the way I want and to enact his emotions the way I wanted. Puck's character was challenging but happy and enjoying at the same time. This piece is very easy flowing. Unlike Olyanna's character is very somber. She's portrayed as depressed and very confused girl, where she's trying to malign the character of the professor. He meant in a way that is the only way she was able to tackle him. And so he thought that she was forced to him, but she did it just to justify herself. The play was written in the 19th century where the things were not as good as the culture today. The culture today is very different as the children and teachers are on the first name basis. So we cannot take these liberties into the 19th century. It is the decorum that was expected from children and teacher. Last but not the least is Doll's House by Henrik Ibsen, where this piece is where it is set in the late 19th century, where women were not given the right to make the voice and were not given the right to choose the husband. However, Olyanna takes the bucked up courage to stand up against her husband and to talk with him about their early few months of their marriage and how she was being treated like a doll and how she does not want her children to be treated like dolls. This play in the late 19th century where Olyanna takes the cause to raise her voice. Second question is, how did I know my strength and weaknesses and limitations while performing and while the preparation for today's performance? I would like to talk about my limitations. It was very difficult for me to understand the Shakespeare writing, as I was very good in the emotions and playing in act way, but the Shakespeare's writings, the language and the deliverance of the lines were very challenging, but at the same time Carol's and Nora's character were very easy. I had to just step into the character and portray myself. The strength of mine that I came across is my acting skills, the way of understanding the character and portraying it into the shoes of the different characters and with an easy flow, but for me at the same time the language should also be easy. But even though Shakespeare language is difficult, as Shakespeare liked to challenge his character, and I made an excellent job of choosing the Puck's character, where it gave me the courage to understand and acknowledge my acting skill and innovate my challenge into different levels so that I can improve much more than what I had before, and it gave me the perspective of choosing a different genres. Third question I would like to talk about: how did the vocal techniques and the physical techniques help me while the preparation for today's performance? I would like to talk about my physical strength, as in my physical strength, I had to engage the audience, and also at the same time, I had to focus that which I did it through meditation. And when I was engaging the audience, I had to keep the eye contact, my physical movements, the movement of synchronization, and also I had to imagine the imaginary characters that I had to address as professor and as my husband. The vocal techniques that I used for my first monologue is the pace, because the lines were fast in some of the monologue, and also I had to vibrate my volume, the tune, the pitch, and also to project my piece. Second, in Olyanna's piece, I had to just make sure that the professor hears the piece in a way that I had to modulate my voice, I had to modulate my volume, and had to standardize my projection in a way of telling him a very important and a serious thing so that he could understand the fact and he would be able to give that much of attention to what was going on in the character. While in the last piece, the voice technique that I used was very stiff because the character is very emotional. It is angry, but I didn't have to portray as an angry woman. But in a very serious tone, I had to project myself so that he would take it seriously and our marriage would have been successful. The last question I would like to talk about is the extract in my performance today in one of my pieces, that is, I would like to talk about the Olyanna's piece. In this piece, she tries to accuse the professor and she goes to the board member to complain about him. But actually what happens in the first part of the scene is that she herself goes to the professor privately to talk to him about her inconvenience and about her disapproval of getting bad grades and of not knowing what is happening in his class, in her boss's class. But professors shows a very sympathy towards her and he tries to explain her in a very good manner. He tries to convey her as if he likes her. He's told her in the first part of the play where he likes her. But in a very different way, she tried to take it in a different approach. So here is the way the confuse had created, and so she thought that the professor was trying to look at her in a very different manner, whereas the situation was different. But yes, he did try to immerse her by giving the good grades and also going outside the border, which was not accustomed to any kind of unnecessary requirements. Thank you.